A little over a year ago, I bought a Nintendo Entertainment System from DK Oldies that they said was refurbished. When I opened it up, I found that it had not been refurbished or even cleaned inside, at least as far as I could tell. So my opinion of DK Oldies has not been great, but recently they put out a video explaining how they refurbish things and that they've set things up a little bit differently. So I thought I should probably buy something else to see if that's true. To be fair to DK Oldies, I also bought a system from eBay that the seller said was in good condition and worked great. I bought the exact same system from both places, so let's check out the eBay system and see if it's what they said it is, compare the price to DK Oldies, and then we'll open up the DK Oldies box. Also, just for those curious, I am not the one that purchased the box from DK Oldies. Someone else purchased it, so DK Oldies wouldn't know who was buying it. Now, just for reference, I bought the Sony PlayStation 4 Destiny the Taken King console. It has the 500 gig hard drive, and this includes a DualShock controller. The eBay seller says the condition is excellent. It is pre-owned, tested, and works great. It includes console, power cord, HDMI, and one DualShock controller. And these are the pictures of the system that I bought. You can see the graphics on the top are not in great condition. And a black DualShock 4. And I paid $126 plus $20 shipping. For those of you not great at math, that equals $146 for this box. But let's open it up and see what kind of condition it's in, and then we do need to test it real quick just to make sure it works. Okay, we got the console down here. We do have an HDMI and power cable. Okay. And then we have the DualShock 4. It's definitely very used. The thumbsticks are basically smoothed off. But, I mean, it's in okay condition. Looks like it's been sanded. I feel like this came from GameStop. And here we go. This is our $126 PS4 from eBay. It has been sanded a lot. It's not really coming across on camera, I don't think. But honestly, I feel like they bought this from GameStop and used it and then resold it. It has been opened before. It's missing a screw on the bottom. I would say them calling this in excellent condition is definitely not true. So not super impressed with the condition as far as the outside of it looks. I'm gonna get it plugged in and let's test it and see if it even starts up. Okay, plugged in, ready to test. It just says PlayStation 5 down here because that's the last console I had plugged in. Disk drive does have power. Has a disc in it. Grand Theft Auto. They did not say that it came with this game, so I mean, I guess that's a bonus. That's hilarious. All right, let's see if we get anything on the screen though. Okay, black screen. Okay, checking system storage status. Let's see if the controller connects. We got an orange light, so it's charging. Controller does nothing when I press the button. Okay, controller is connected. That's good. We have a white light, nothing on the screen. We did already get something on the screen, so... Okay. PS4 is not turned off properly. That's fine. Okay. It was not reset. That's a little worrisome. I mean, you can't really do anything with other people's accounts, but that's still a little weird that they wouldn't reset it before they sold it. Okay. Looks good so far. Let's see if it plays the game that was in it. Takes it in, a little slow, not too bad though. And disc is spinning up. And there we go. So while this system is definitely not perfect, I wouldn't say it's in excellent condition. So far, it does work and it does show up on the TV, so that's good. And plus, we get a free game. I do want to take it apart and just inspect the inside a little bit before we get to the DK Oldies system. I'm not going to do like a full teardown on this or anything, but I do want to kind of get an idea of how this thing looks on the inside. Already see some sanding here. This has to be a GameStop unit. Just trying to look at the back here. I can't tell Since there's no GameStop stickers, I can't tell for sure, but I feel like, I mean, GameStop is the one that always sands these things. I feel like it has to be a GameStop one. The threads on this are stripped out. That doesn't have anything to bite into. Same with this one. Threads are sort of stripped out. So not in the best condition as far as the threads on these screws. Yeah, same with this. Somebody probably over-tightened them when they were putting it back together. Okay, we do have some dust in the system. Not like crazy amount. I mean, I would expect this for a used console. And let's see how big of a hard drive is in this thing. I think it's probably 500 gig, but it seems like the seller of this console maybe didn't know all the details about this since they left a game in here. And we have a 500 gig hard drive. So that is correct. All right, now let's get, I can already tell that it's gonna be kind of dirty on the inside. We got some dirt around here. So let's see how dirty this thing is though. These models have like a little clip at this back corner here. You have to disengage to get this back cover off, or bottom cover off. Okay, let's see how dirty it is down here. Yeah, definitely a little bit of dirt. 500 gig. They're just using these stickers to hold this down, which is kind of funny. I don't know. I think those are probably GameStop stickers too. So all signs are pointing to this being a GameStop refurb that somebody bought and then resold. Another screw that does not tighten down, probably was over tightened. So when they don't come out, just get my tweezers under them to put a little upward pressure, and then use my screw to turn it out just like that. My screwdriver. All right, now I should get the power supply out. Got a little dust bunny down in here. I'm just gonna take this apart enough to inspect the thermal paste. Because, I mean, if we're going to take it apart, we might as well check and replace that. I already feel like it's probably going to need to be replaced with the perfect amount, if nothing else. This is not even a screw that goes in this system, and it's in there pretty tight. I'm a little worried about. Okay, I mean, that screw works. It's a little worried about how long it was, but not long enough to cause any damage, so that's fine, I guess. All right, and now the top plate can come off, and we have no thermal pads on the RAM chips. That's just stupid. No reason to put this plate back on without these thermal pads on, and that can cause it to overheat. Or also just cause the RAM chips to go bad at some point from overheating. So I am not super impressed with this system, and calling this system in excellent condition is honestly, in my opinion, just misleading. Now we can get the board out and see what the thermal paste looks like. Wow, that looks like mayonnaise. Is that even thermal paste? I don't know. I'm certainly not gonna taste it, or am I? Huh? I'm just kidding. That's disgusting. So I can see whoever had this at some point replace the HDMI port. I mean, they did well enough to actually get a signal, so that's good. And they definitely put on, I don't know what that is, but that is, in my opinion, not good thermal paste. There's nothing even on the chip itself. It's just all squished out. There's just like some liquid there, which honestly makes it seem like mayonnaise, but I don't think it actually is. That's disgusting. So we'll put this back together later. I probably won't film it, but I will make sure to install the perfect amount and the perfect type of thermal paste, which is not going to be mayonnaise. So for the eBay PS4, I'm honestly not impressed. It's definitely not in excellent condition. The controller is in okay condition. It does at least work. The system at least works, but I'm not super impressed. At the same time, I did only pay $146 for it, so in one sense, I did get what I paid for. I just didn't get what the seller described in the listing, Now that we've taken a look at this PS4, let's open up the DK Oldies PS4 and see how it compares. So this is the box from DK Oldies. I have not opened it yet. I'm breaking the seal right now for the first time on camera. Let's see what we got. Firstly, this one is packaged much better than the eBay console. The eBay one did come in decent condition, like there's no broken pieces or anything, but it wasn't packaged that great. This, it looks like they used, new paper and quality paper. That's always nice. Let's see what we have. DK Oldies PS4 quality control procedure 2/19/2024. Hard drive size 500. Technician AS and GB. Functionality confirmed. Thermal paste replaced. Clock battery tested. Cleaned by 404. So it looks like they have a process, which is good. Let's talk about the price of this thing though. So this is the exact system I purchased. PlayStation 4 standard 500 gig Destiny Edition system player pack. So this is a system in good condition, which means it will look good and work free of dirt and debris, free of stickers, writing, major chips or cracks, and major discoloration. May show minor signs of age and use, which I would expect. So it comes with a compatible controller, charging cord, power cord, and HDMI for TV hookup. Like all of our products, these items have been cleaned, tested, and are backed by our 1-year warranty. In my first video about DK Oldies, the system definitely had not been cleaned, and if I remember right, I don't even think it worked. I could be wrong. I'll link that video at the end so you can go check it out. Let's check this system out and see if it is what they say it is. Okay, controller and cable. This is the charge cable for the controller. This is a freakishly long cable, which is honestly kind of cool. And let's see, controller looks good. It is, in my opinion, in better condition than the one we got from eBay, but it definitely is used and worn. Again, which is what I would expect. Okay, down here we have a brand new looking HDMI cable. And definitely a used, we got some, looks like bite marks on this cable. I'm not sure I would be selling that if I was DK Oldies, but I mean, ultimately they don't look too bad, so it's probably fine. That's the power cable. Let's have a look at this system now. Again, really nice shipping. You got a number of layers of bubble wrap, wrapped both ways, which is great. Okay. And here we go. This one is definitely very scratched. I would say less scratched than the eBay one. And that's probably because it hasn't been sanded, firstly. But so far, it does look clean. Let's do a quick test on that. We'll get a cotton bud with some IPA. Just kind of rub it around here. And honestly, not bad. A little bit of discoloration on the cotton bud, but really not bad. Okay, let's check out the bottom. Just some scratching. And up here, not too bad either. We do have both of the screws, so far it's not missing any screws. And let's check the front. I don't see any dirt or debris down in the front, so that's good so far. But let's plug this system in and see if it works. I do want to mention this is from the email, that this is the order confirmation email. The PS4 Destiny Edition in good condition. It cost $289 when we bought this thing. And then with tax, the total came to $313. So a $300 system, I expect the inside to be really good, and I expect it to work basically perfectly. Let's get it hooked up to the TV and see if it'll turn on and work. And all plugged in. Do we have power to the disk drive? Yep. Power to the console. Good so far. PS logo. That's good. The controller is charging. Let's see if it connects. It does not connect yet anyway. The controller does not connect. Let's try a different USB port. And it does charge. Okay. I'm going to try resetting the controller. There we go. And nothing. Okay, that's a problem. Let's try the controller from the eBay system. And that one does connect. So immediately we seem to have a controller issue. I'm gonna get the system set up and then we'll test the disk drive. Now I'm using the eBay controller and I noticed the R2 button. Watch this, if you can see it. It like sticks right there. On the other side, that's how it's supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to work. So this controller definitely has issues as well. So I have it started up. Let's test a disk. Okay, it goes in nicely. It's not spinning. And it will not read the disk. Let's try a different disk. This is my test disk, Trials Fusion, and it's in honestly pretty good condition. This is the disk we tested with the eBay console. Let's see if it'll play in this one. And same thing. DK Oldies, this is not starting out well. And same thing. So there's definitely a problem with the disk drive in this console. Let's take it apart, have a look at the inside, and see if we can figure out this disk drive issue. Honestly, I had such high hopes for DK Oldies after I saw their video about how they've redone their refurbishment process. And immediately we're missing screws as well. Oh boy, here we go. So the disk drive doesn't work, the controller doesn't work, we're missing some screws. I mean, so far at least, it's clean inside, but man, it's been a year since my last video. That's plenty of time to make changes. They said they made changes. I mean, I'm not sure what to think at this point. So far, I can say that the system is very clean. So that's progress, and I will definitely give them credit for that. Even the eBay one was significantly dirtier than this one. Okay, I'm gonna get all these screws out, then we'll take a look at the board, the thermal paste, and then the disk drive. All right, screws are out. Feels like we have, we're missing more thermal pads. So these two go over here. There's 3 missing right there, which would go right there. They're just not there. Man. So, another strike against DK Oldies, unfortunately. Really curious to see what this thermal paste looks like too. Well, let's have a look. I did feel some resistance from the thermal paste, so I know it's there. Okay, that actually looks pretty amazing, honestly. That is pretty good. Definitely not the perfect amount, but I will say this might be the closest thing I've seen to the perfect amount. Other than, you know, the perfect amount that I put on. Okay, this is a pretty clean board. I don't really see any problems here. I mean, it even had this metal piece that is often forgotten. In fact, I think the eBay one it was missing from. So honestly, that's pretty impressive. Okay, well, it is very clean inside. I think I'm going to take this bottom plate off and let's see how clean the heatsink is. That's something a lot of people forget when they're cleaning these things. So let's check that out. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. And it is very clean. No problems at all with the heatsink. Even the fan is nice and clean. There's a tiny bit of dust down here, but that is no problem at all in my opinion. Okay, now let's check out that disk drive issue. So this issue the disk drive is having, honestly, is most likely a faulty laser. Sounds like it's trying to read, but just can't read. So sometimes you can see that, and sometimes you can't. Like when you take the bottom cover off or the bottom plate off. All right, you got 2 screws at the back right here that I need a smaller bit for. PH0 should do. There we go. All right, and then we lift up on the back and pull it out just like that. And I see 0 issues so far. It's hard to know whether that laser is faulty or not. It doesn't look super dirty or anything. If it was too dirty to read, then we'd probably be able to tell. But it still is most likely the laser. So let's get that replaced and then we'll put it all back together and test it and see if that fixed it. Now we just need to flip this over and get all these screws out and the ribbon cables off. Then we can get down to that laser. And there's 2 screws, one here and one here, hidden under this ribbon cable that I used to always forget. Now I just need to get the cables released from these little tabs in the back. And this ribbon cable, I always like to mark, although I think the replacement that I have has the ribbon cables on it. But I do like to be in the habit of marking that. Just makes it easier to install. There we go. And now we can pull this up. And there we go. So we could replace just the laser, but I'm going to take the easy way out and replace this whole assembly. So I'll remove it like that and install the new assembly. Usually these assemblies also don't come with the ribbon cables installed, but since I took this off of a donor that I had sitting around, it does have the ribbon cables. All right, there's that part. And now this is why I mark them, so I can make sure and get the ribbon cable right in the correct spot. There it is. Now the screws go back in, then we can get it back in the console. Now I'll put these cables back in the little brackets back here and get it installed. Oh, and we need to put this bottom plate on. But let's replace these rollers too. Replacing these will make it so the disc goes in much easier, goes in and out much easier. Those ones are kind of yellowed. All right, just gonna go in over here, push that down, and over here. Oops, there we go. Now this little bar goes in between, just like that. And there we go. I will give this a quick clean on the inside. Just get any loose dust out of here. It really isn't too bad though, so we don't need to worry too much. Okay. Now the bottom plate. Gotta make sure and put it in not upside down. There we go. Now it's ready to be installed. into the console. Okay, now I just have to put the screws in. I'm not going to film this whole process. I'm just going to be putting this thing back together to see if all of that work will make this thing work. And then if it doesn't, figuring out what will. But I think that's all it's going to take. I think it was just a bad laser. Okay, then goes the antenna. And then we'll just put it through all these little brackets. Just like that. And there's one down here as well. There we go. All right, good so far. Now we can flip it over and start on this side. Okay, I really honestly kind of hate to do this part because the thermal paste really was surprisingly done well in this, but you know, got to make sure and have the perfect amount and the perfect kind on here. So I'm going to remove it and install the perfect amount, or apply the perfect amount, I guess you'd say. I'm still surprised at this thermal paste at how well they did. And even like, it's like the perfect square on here. It was just so good. I wish they would have paid that close of attention to testing it to make sure everything worked. It's very surprising to see that precise amount of thermal paste and then have the controller and the disk drive not even work. It's just weird. It's also just such basic testing. I'm not sure how stuff like that happens. And now I can apply the perfect amount of thermal paste. We can't forget that. There we go. Now the board is ready to go in after. There's a hair stuck in there. I replaced this guy. I've forgotten this quite a few times. There we go. Now we're ready to install the board. And there we go. This ribbon cable can also be tricky to remember, but I will remember it today. So one end goes here, the other end goes into the disk drive, right over here. Might as well connect these guys too while we're down here. Two of them are just push in. This one has a locking tab. So we push it in and then lock it down. Just like that. And then we'll throw the power supply in. Got to remember to plug it in first. I have forgotten to do this a couple times. There we go. And there we go. Now go back to the top side. Now we'll install the top plate that has all of the thermal pads for the memory chips in place. That should help it run better just in itself. All right, there we go. This is also another piece a lot of people misplace or forget, or they put it together and they have that piece left over. That goes right here. And that is what one of the screws for the power supply screw into. And this cover goes over it, just like that. Okay, now a bunch more screws. And then we can get the hard drive in, get the covers on, and we should be able to test it. Now I am replacing any screw that that was like mostly stripped out. Just putting new screws in, or I mean they're used, but they're very good. Not stripped out. Putting those in here. And then we'll make sure we have all the right amounts and sizes of other screws as well. Like that one screw that was here, that was just the wrong kind of screw. There wasn't too many screws missing here, but there was a few. I never really understand places that leave screws missing, just because, especially if you do a lot of these, you have extra screws just laying around. So it's always so weird to me when places don't just replace any screws that are missing. Just a weird thing. Okay, all those screws are great now. Now we need to get all the T8 Torx screws in. There was a couple of these missing as well, so I have replacements for those to make sure we have all of them in that need to be in here. Sometimes I forget which of these holes need screws. So in those cases, I just put this cover sort of on, and one goes there and one goes here once the cover is on. So that means all of these other holes need screws in them. There we go. And then those other two will get screws in them once we put that cover on. This one was missing too when we took it off, so that one is now there. Okay, good. One more up here. This is the one that had the funky screw in it, so. There we go. And one more. Okay, I think that's all of them. I don't think I missed any. Get the hard drive in. Okay, we're pretty good here. Let's finish the power supply now. I couldn't finish the power supply before because I had to put that little piece on there, that metal piece that one of these screws screws into. So now we can install this part. Multiple times I've tried to put these together in the wrong order before that little piece was in there, and I didn't have anything to screw the screw into, and it took me a while to figure out what was going on. But that was a young Steve problem. Now I remember it. And we'll just give this a quick basic brush out. It really isn't too dirty, but there's a little bit of dust in there. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the cleanliness of this, but I'm not happy with the fact that multiple things didn't work or weren't put together. It wasn't put together properly. There we go. And we'll install those two screws that were missing. Maybe the reason they were missing is because they're stripped out. Let's find out. Nope, that one holds good. So does that one. Okay, good. Two more. Now that this thing's together, let's turn it on and see if it works and see if this disk drive works. Okay, we got the system started up. Let's, just for fun, let's plug in the USB cable that they provided just to make sure we don't have a problem with my cable. And we get the charging light. And if we press the PS button, just nothing. Nothing at all. Try to reset it again. Same thing. Nothing. But if we use the one that I got from eBay, we'll plug it in, we get the charge light, and then it connects. So now the true test, let's see if the disk drive works. So I'm going to use Grand Theft Auto. See what happens. Takes it in really nicely and spinning up. That's good news. And there we go. All fixed. All it took was replacing that laser. So overall, I feel like DK Oldies probably has improved their process. This console is definitely much cleaner. And I mean, a lot of it worked, but unfortunately the disk drive didn't work and the controller also didn't work. To DK Oldies' credit, they do offer a warranty on this, so I can just send it back and get my money back. Now the eBay console I was also disappointed with. It definitely wasn't what their description said it was, but at the same time the controller worked and the console was fully functional. The eBay console was also significantly cheaper. I kind of expect to be disappointed when I only pay $146 for a PS4 and controller, but when I pay $300 for a PS4 and controller, I expect that I'm going to be impressed. And unfortunately in this case, I definitely was not. Let me know in the comments your experience with DK Oldies and let me know if you've had a good one or a bad one. Thanks so much for watching today and I hope you have a good one.